Well, good morning, YouTubers. Welcome to YouTube University for Fabric Covering. Uh, no, I'm not an expert. Um, I figured I'd show you a little bit farther along in the process. I showed you where I was with the J-3 Cub wing, that I got the wiring and the cable and the primer and all that stuff on. Well, what I didn't show you um, was getting it to a point ready to put the fabric on. So there's a few things here. Let me show you real quick before I start gluing more. I went through with the cloth tape to cover up rivets and seams and that kind of stuff. You do it anywhere where there might be a protruding rivet that could chafe through on the fabric. You do it all over on the seams and that kind of thing. And then the other thing you do, or I like to do, that I found that works really well, is this little void right here with the aileron cove, is you cover that with a piece of fabric, glue it onto your rib, shrink it down, and then put some poly brush on it. And what that does is that gives you a flat surface to glue your fabric on. So when you trim this out, you do your pinking edge, you do your cut up into here, and then you have a nice flat area to lay your glue on, and you can glue fabric to fabric. Whereas if this wasn't here, you have this rib texture here that's in a T, and then this little cross piece that has like a channel in it, and then another T here. And it's kind of a pain in the ass to get the glue to lay down. So if you do the glue on the top and the bottom of the rib, and you stretch that fabric in between it, it does two things. It's going to give you a closeout for that opening that's kind of hard to fill, and then it also gives you a flat place to glue your new fabric to. So you're going to put this like right here. This will be stretched out. I got a few glue points to do, but what I did is I put poly brush all along the edges here to kind of hold the fabric together, and then you can take your scissors and you can cut that out, and it doesn't fray. So you see this right here where it's fraying like that, and that can be a pain when finishing. So like right here where it's held together with the poly brush, it doesn't fray. So you can make a nice clean cut, and then you can trim out your 45 or your pinking edge really nice, and then have a nice layer to glue down. And you could glue it like this if you wanted to, but if you're critical on straight lines and the pinked edge and you're going for a showstopper, you can actually cut this, draw a pencil line with a regular graphite pencil, and then cut nice straight lines pinking, and then you put your tapes on it and cover it up, and it looks really nice. Same thing like within here, on the same deal. Stretch a piece of fabric, and then on the root edge, same thing. What I did is I put a piece of fabric over the whole root edge. I did it in 3 pieces. I did the trailing edge, I did the center, and then I did the leading edge, and then I trimmed it out and then shrunk it down and everything, and then put the poly brush on it, and then you have your wiring and your cable running through there, and then you can dress that out and it'll look really nice. And what the other thing again that'll do is it'll close it up, so if the airplane ever sits out on the ramp, you won't get a bird that'll fly in there. They most likely wouldn't get into here. But if this was all open and the fairing was left off for just a day, they'll find that and they'll make a nest like right down in here where it's really hard to get to. So I like closing this off and making sure it's all sealed up, and it keeps the mud daubers out, you know, for the most part. The mice, yeah, the mice will get through that, but the tighter you have it, the less likely they are to get in it. So the harder it is to get in there, the less likely you'll have. So this trailing edge is all glued down on the top, and then I glued the top of the rib right here, or actually it's the bottom of the rib because this is the bottom of the wing. But I glued this down, and then I'll trim this out, get that folded over, and I'll start working on this here and trimming it out around the aileron hinge brackets and getting it all glued down. And then around the leading edge, or the tip, I should say, the bow, it's kind of the same thing. I made all my poly brush here around the edge of it. Just put that on there and let it dry, and then you can trim it out, and then that way you can wrap it around this bow. My clamping thing here is just a large C-clamp, and then I welded an extended pin on here with a washer, and then I took the foot off the jack screw for the clamp, and then it has this pin, and they fit perfectly right in here, and then that gives me plenty of room to work around and glue. And there will be a little slit right here that I have to work around, but then I can finish it with tapes. And when we take it off the rack after it's all painted, when you go to cut your inspection holes, you'll have a colored inspection hole, and you'll have a hole that's left here that you can put a little dolly over this area right here. So that'll finish that out. So anyway, here's the wing. This is the bottom of the wing, and first layer of fabric, I'm doing it as a panel, and then I'll flip it over, and then I'll do the top panel, and then I will shrink and poly brush the whole thing, and then stitch it, tape it, and then it'll be ready for the customer, because he's going to paint it and do all that. So anyway, this is the stage I'm at, and I will do it again, do another video for the next. So anyway, got another wing there I got to do. That's for the Citabria. That's still hanging right there. I got to get that done at some point, but we'll see. Anyway, hope it was informative. Cheers. Have a great day wherever you're at. God bless. Hit the like and subscribe button if you want more. I'm not a YouTuber yet, and I don't know if I'll ever be, but hey, you know, get it out there. Never know. So we'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.